Coming up right now, you won't believe what a bus driver did to a student. The shocking incident caught on camera.
Also coming up, a woman claims to be dating the hottest man alive, but doesn't know what he sees in her.
And later, Britney Spears is celebrating a brand new title. Could it spell a comeback? Daily Flash starts right now.
Get ready for trending news and entertainment. This is Daily Flash with your hosts, Andrea Jackson and Mitch English. The fun starts right now. This is Daily Flash.
Hi everyone, I'm Andrea Jackson.
And I'm Matt Doolittle in for Mitch English, who is currently waiting in line for Taylor Swift concerts. I didn't know tickets. I didn't know he was such a Swiftie. He's been out there for about a week now. We'll check in with him later. He's in a nice tent. He's fine. He's got water and food, but he's been waiting.
You were gonna say he was waiting in line for Britney Spears' new tell-all.
Oh gosh, I don't know what to do with her.
That's okay. We've got news of her coming up
Yes.
in just a moment. But first, we got to talk about this. I saw this article the other day. It happens to surround Orange County schools here in Central Florida. Our governor here in the state of Florida banned cell phone use for students in classes, but the Orange County School District took it a step further and said no cell phone use whatsoever from A to F. You know, from the moment you start to the moment you end. And you'll be shocked to hear this, but they're actually seeing some incredible improvements from this.
I mean, and I get that, but I just went to my 20th year high school reunion, and I can remember 20 years ago, we weren't walking around constantly looking at our phones. They were literally just phones with the Snake game on them. And I know people that went to the Dave Chappelle concert recently where they had no cell phones at all. And people said they loved the experience of not having their phone for 2.5 hours.
Yeah, I was there at that Dave Chappelle concert. It also happened with Joe Rogan. They give you these pouches. They're called Yonder. You put your phone in, you keep it with you the entire time, but it's magnetized in a pocket, so you can't get to your phone until you get out of the show.
Oh, okay.
But back to the school district, they are saying they have seen a decrease in bullying. Students are more engaged. They're talking with one another.
What?
One principal said it has turned things around dramatically. It's like night and day.
You may see that trend more, and I wouldn't be surprised if you don't start seeing it in work environments too, especially since a lot of businesses, and I know this is happening with my fiance, they are forcing them more and more to like, hey, remember those 2 days at home? Well, they were cutting it to 1 a week now. So they're slowly, and I think you're going to see that as the businesses are going to be like, all right, no cell phone use, even though we're adults here. We know you're on Facebook 20% of the time, or YouTube, so quit it.
I will say it was terrific when we went to the Dave Chappelle show because people are actually engaged in conversation. You're watching the show, you're paying attention to it. And I never understand the people who take video at these shows. It's like, when are you ever going to watch that concert footage? When?
No, and the people that we went to a wrestling event a couple months ago, and some dude was just streaming the wrestling event on his phone in front of me. I'm like, we didn't pay $200 to sit here and watch it through your phone. And I finally was like, dude, can you kill it?
Even more reason to use those Yonder pouches
I'm a fan for it.
Future shows. Well, shocking footage captures the moment a bus driver appears to slap and choke a Louisiana middle school student while the other kids scream for him to stop. Investigators say it all started when the 77-year-old driver tried to get a student to sit down in his seat. The student refused, and then the driver reacts by pushing him back down before slapping him. The child then responds by shoving the bus driver. Then the driver appears to pin the student up against the bus window while grabbing a hold of his neck. The school district just outside of New Orleans released a statement in part saying the safety and well-being of our students is a top priority. The bus company says their drivers are trained to handle highly tense situations like these.
Not like
the
that.
driver, the driver is out on bond, plans to defend his actions in court. He has since resigned from his position. It is still unclear what started it all.
I just don't understand how you defend that. I mean, the man's clearly outsizing the kid. It's not like it's a high school linebacker and you're maybe a little afraid of him overpowering you. That kid is clearly smaller than him.
But you don't know the circumstances.
You don't know exactly what was going on.
All of these situations, in my opinion, they require context. Has this kid been a problem for a number of days? You know, is this bus driver having issues? You just don't know.
Was he messing with him while he was driving and putting the other kids in safety? And you get that little cell phone clip.
Right. And then you make your judgment based on that. And so it's important to remember not all the facts are available to us
All right,
just
well,
yet.
we'll have to see what happens there.
Yeah.
Well, a woman who claims her boyfriend, and no, it's not my fiance, is the hottest man alive, sparked a viral frenzy when she questions what her partner sees in her. 24-year-old Nadia Okamoto, thank you, frequently shares footage of her boyfriend Henry and noting that she didn't know why he was interested in her because of how attractive he was. She captured the viral video, "Missing Henry Since I've Been Away for the Last Week." Nadia showed various clips of her boyfriend Henry while gushing about his good looks. She said, "I'm convinced I'm dating the hottest man alive, and no one can convince me otherwise." In the snaps of Henry, he was seen getting ready for work and eating. Nadia, who attended Harvard and has been with her boyfriend for 4 years, sparked a frenzy of responses from viewers. People flooded the comments section to share their views on both her and her boo. One person said, "Yes, girl, yes, you are." I don't get it. Like, I don't. Why are you with this person if she for 4 years and she's Harvard educated?
No, I hear a breakup. It's coming pretty soon.
I am so grateful that I am with a person who doesn't make me take like social media stuff of her all the time, or that I'm asking her first, or she's doing it of me, because I just, there's stuff I don't want. Like, I don't want our dinners on YouTube. I don't want our theme park trips out there.
There comes a point, I think, in your social media life where you start to back off of all of that
100%.
stuff. 'Cause you appreciate the privacy, and you don't need to post all of that stuff nonstop every day.
I'm a big fan of those, those vloggers that go to the parks and everything. And I started to do it initially, but I was like, I don't want to post all my meals. People don't want to see me eating. And if she's sitting there going, "My boyfriend the hottest, look at him," it's like, can you put that away? I don't want this.
I think eventually that stuff starts to turn sour, and that relationship may not last.
Nadia's going to be single looking for a new hottest man very soon. I guarantee
You never know. Well, Britney Spears is thankful to her fans for the success of her new memoir. The Woman in Me has sold more than 1 million copies during its first week of sales. The audiobook, which includes an introduction by Spears and is narrated by actress Michelle Williams, has become one of the fastest-selling audiobooks of all time. A fourth printing of the hardback is already in the works. Britney's tell-all has been named a top seller, making the New York Times and USA Today bestseller list. In addition to the book's U.S. success, it's also gaining success around the world with international record book sales in the UK, Australia, Canada, and India. I'm already starting to see documentaries and little stories on streaming services about Britney and Taylor Swift and all these people, and I'm like, should I be watching this? Do I need to watch this? I don't know.
I think that the Britney thing, a lot of it, I think, was people taking pictures on social media with the book, just so they could, look what I'm reading, or, I mean, they would go listen to the audiobook too. It's just insane that we want to look into the life of this crazy person, and having, not crazy person, but this person who's been through a rough life, and having just visited Graceland and seeing kind of the stuff of Elvis, it was very mirroring of how their lives were. And it's like, you feel weird walking through there and going, this was someone's house who was clearly dealing with a lot.
Yeah, but I will say, though, in defense of Britney, I think it's good for her to publish this book, because I think there's so many misconceptions about her, about what she's gone through, and I think this is good that she's been able to get out her side of the story all in one book to say, hey, I'm not the crazy person you think I am. This is my story. Again, it's all about context. When you start to find out the context of these decisions that she's making, all of a sudden they start to make a little bit more sense.
I want to know what she kept out of the book.
Oh, I'm sure that's the next memoir. Part two. Well, someone else who is celebrating major achievement is Vicki Gunvalson. The 61-year-old Real Housewives of Orange County alum was honored at BravoCon 2023 with the first ever Lifetime Achievement Award in celebration of her 18 years on the network. The TV personality received the award during the Bravos, a parody award show hosted by Andy Cohen. Taking the stage to a standing ovation from a crowd full of her Bravo celebrity peers, Gunvalson held back tears as she accepted her trophy. Vicki's been a member of the series since its debut in 2006.
Wow.
After her role was reduced, she announced her exit from the show in January of 2020. Since her departure, she's appeared on The Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip Ex-Wives Club and returned as a guest star for the show's 17th season.
I'm actually very happy that I've never watched an entire... And I'm more of a Below Deck person. I will say I watched that. But
speaking of Below Deck, I read something this morning that Below Deck is teaming up with Walmart. So the next season of Below Deck, when you're watching, you can click on whatever products they're using that you might be interested in and purchase them directly from Walmart.
That's very smart, but on there it's a lot of lube and condoms. I mean, all they do is get
Holy.
drunk and mess around on the boat. I mean, it's pretty people in nice places getting it on. Like, that's all it is.
Maybe there's some food, maybe there's some clothing options. Maybe it's
There's
not
definitely
just
no
all-
clothing options. I mean, the best one when the guests are crazy, and then you just like, good Lord, what is happening with these people?
Well, anyway, the next season of Below Deck will look a little different. Stay with us, still plenty more Daily Flash to come. Head to our website, dailyflashshow.com, for more on any of our stories. Welcome back to Daily Flash. Our next guest, Amy Fox, is a certified nutritionist who believes what we eat directly impacts how we feel, and it also correlates with how we show up in all areas of our life. Amy joins us now with advice on how to master your mood with food. Hi, Amy. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Andrea. Thank you so much for having me. Glad to be here.
You've got 5 tips for nutrition and mental health. Let's start with the first one. You say reduce or eliminate processed foods.
Absolutely. So these ultra-processed foods are foods you can't recreate in your kitchen, and they usually have a long list of ingredients you don't recognize. But they're like imposters, tempting and convenient, but they lack any nutritional value and just the real goodness of whole foods. So they're typically foods that you might find that are prepackaged or convenient, goodies like crackers, frozen pizzas, sodas, and they have, think about like bagged chips like these. I know these might be favorites for some, but limiting these is a great idea.
Yeah, I always think if it's 5 ingredients or less, and like you mentioned, ingredients that you recognize, you're pretty much making a safe bet. You also say, second on your list, add more protein to your diet.
Yes, absolutely. Protein boosts your brain function. Protein is like the secret sauce for your brain. And what it does is it breaks down amino acids and creates these neurotransmitters. And so the more protein we create, the more potential we have for creating these neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine, if you've ever heard of those. Those help to regulate our mood and are sometimes referred to as the feel-good hormones. So yeah, you want to add more proteins like lean chicken and beef. I've got some of my favorites. I love eggs because they're inexpensive. They're easy to make. You can have them on hand. I also love Greek yogurt because you can whip this into ice creams or just add a lot of fruit and goodness on top.
Another key factor, and a lot of people recommend this, is stop eating after dinner. And there's a specific time. I mean, how many hours should we sort of plan to eat dinner before we go to sleep at night?
So I like to say right around after dinner time, like 7 or 8. So we want to close the window on eating because what we're doing is we're fast forwarding energy for tomorrow. So when we give our bodies a break after dinner, it allows your digestive system to fully process what you've eaten during the day, and your body gets a rest. So it helps you to improve digestion, which leads to just a more restful night's sleep. So you increase your chances of feeling really good in the morning because you've had a good night's sleep. So aim to try to wrap up dinner around that 7 o'clock time frame, 7 or 8. So you're giving your body a full 10 to 12 hours of rest.
You also say 4th on your list is reduce alcohol intake.
Yes, alcohol is your best frenemy. It's the master of deception. I mean, this is non-alcoholic, but just to help us remember, it really, we all think that we're unwinding at the end of the day with a glass of wine or that nightcap, that's going to help you to just relax and relieve stress. But in reality, it has the opposite effect. It really does. Alcohol, and really not even a lot of it, unfortunately, it's a depressant. And what that means is it affects your ability to produce your natural happiness chemicals. And it definitely impacts sleep. Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night and had those feelings of worry, or what we oftentimes refer to as like anxiety?
That's the alcohol doing it, definitely. All right, last on
It
your
is.
list, we'll wrap up with this one. Stay curious.
Absolutely. So curiosity can be like an amazing tool because oftentimes we're talking about making healthy lifestyle changes. And sometimes we think about that as making having a diet or restrictive plan. But when you stay curious, instead of feeling guilty or shame, which can sometimes come along with that, and you really are asking yourself why, it can be like a magic trick. So journaling and really thinking about why did I have those cookies really can help you to feel hopeful and help those changes stick.
Amy Fox, thanks so much for joining us. For more information, head to foodandmoodlab.com. We'll see you next time, Amy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, then there's this. Colombia is hoping to expedite its mission to recover a 3-century-old sunken treasure worth as much as $20 billion as the ownership of the fortune lies in legal limbo amid an ongoing court battle. I think Mitch is down there snorkeling for it right now. President Gustavo Petro ordered his administration to exhume the holy grail of shipwrecks from the floor of the Caribbean Sea as soon as possible. Petro wants to bring the 62-gun, 3-masted ship to the surface before his term is up in 2026. But mystery surrounds the ownership of the massive trove of gold, silver, and emeralds is estimated to be worth anywhere between $4 billion and $20 billion. Wow. The issue appears to revolve around who is believed to have found it. The ship, with a crew of 600 members on board, sank some 2,000 feet on June 8, 1708. It remained a thing of legend for years as its exact location was unknown. Colombia has never released the coordinates of the ship's final resting place. And this always comes up whenever somebody finds a treasure. It's like, who owns it, who found it, who owned the ship before it sank. That always comes. Where did it land? That's always come up.
Whose family has rights to it?
Whose family has rights to it? And then they want to keep it a secret because next thing you know, everybody's diving down there. But to try to exhume something like that, and they've tried this with the Titanic, they're like, you move that thing an inch, it's just going to dissolve and go away. So just leave it where it is. Something
always tells me like a ship is cursed. It's supposed to be stay at its final resting place, and you just leave it alone.
I've seen the Pirates movies. Just let it rest.
Yes, exactly.
Let it rest. All right, more Flash right after this.
Welcome back to Daily Flash. I'm Andrea Jackson. It's Thursday, which means it's time to check in with Tony Toscano to find out what's coming out of Hollywood and straight to your screen no matter what size you watch it on. With the latest,
here's Tony!
Playing in selected theaters is the film Radical, which won the Festival Favorite Award at this year's Sundance Film Festival.
¿Quieres aprender de los libros? ¿Quieres aprender de la vida?
La luna, el cielo, el sol y el mar.
Usted manda a estos niños disparados como cohetes al espacio, metiéndole todas esas ideas en la cabeza.
Regalarte las estrellas.
A teacher in a Mexican border town full of neglect, corruption, and violence tries a radical new method to unlock his students' curiosity, potential, and maybe even their genius. I chatted with the film's star and executive producer, Eugenio Derbez.
I hope this movie starts the conversation about the change in education, because this not just happens in Mexico, it happens in all Latin America and in many parts of the world, like India, Africa, of course, and also here in the US. I went to Washington like a month ago and to show the movie, and you can't imagine how many people told me there's something similar in the US, not in the same way, but there are a lot of places where they're going through the same stuff. So I hope this movie can help and start a conversation to make a change.
Based on true events, Radical is an inspirational teacher story that takes you into the world of both teachers and students in a very corrupt society, and how one teacher's frustration pushes him to do more. Again, Radical is in selected theaters in its original Spanish with subtitles. It gets a B and is rated PG-13. Also in selected theaters, Meg Ryan directs and stars with David Duchovny in the new rom-com, What Happens Later.
When people break up, there's the thing that they tell each other, and then there's the truth that you never told me.
I was in love with you, and I couldn't turn that on and off like a switch.
I know.
Two ex-lovers get snowed in at a regional airport overnight and begin to unpack the riddle of their mutual past and the dreams they once shared. I chatted with the film stars.
This reminds me so much of things like The Owl and the Pussycat and My Dinner with Andre, because it's just two brilliant actors working together.
Wow. Wow, thank you. And they really have to take some interesting, sharp twists and turns in terms of tone and handling a comedic moment and handling a dramatic one. And you know, when I actually start to cry in this movie at the same place every time, and it's when he gives her a hug. Mm-hmm. There's just something so open-hearted and for real about, like, it just you can just feel the warmth. And I think the open heart of the movie is like pretty. I'm losing track.
You know, you're on it. You're on it. Keep going. You've got it. You've got it.
What Happens Later is a beautifully acted, rich and rewarding dramedy well worth your time to see. Again, it's playing in selected theaters and gets an A. It's rated R. For the Daily Flash, I'm film critic Tony Toscano.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's Daily Digits, where we take a look at some of the numbers in the news and entertainment and kind of tell you a little bit more about them. Your first number this week is $2 million. And this week involves a car from one of the most famous scenes in cinema. Now, this is the primary car, which means it was film used. It's the Lamborghini Countach 25th anniversary edition used in the filming of The Wolf of Wall Street, and it's headed to auction and is expected to catch between $1.5 to $2 million. Now, as you can see, this was the actual one in the film. The sale will take place at the inaugural On the Grid, the Abu Dhabi auction in late November. This is from the infamous scene where Jordan Belfort, played by Leo DiCaprio, went on a Quaalude-fueled drive. Now, there were two cars purchased for the film. The other one was just kind of for static shots, but this was obviously the star. Wow. And it's as filmed, as you can see. The busted condition, the collector's package includes signed props, one of the wardrobe pieces, 2 DVDs, and a bunch of other signed stuff. But you're really going to pay $2 million for a car that's had the crap beat out of it.
As is.
Now, they say in the description, it does not turn on. The next number this week is 5. That's how many months Taylor Swift fans in Argentina, and I think Mitch is included, are intense to be front row for Taylor Swift's Eras Tour. And as you can imagine, not everyone is ready to shake it off.
Nice.
You see what I did there? In Argentina, fans had been waiting for 5 months to be front row at the Eras Tour. That's right, not since the opening of Star Wars: The Phantom Menace have nerds been waiting this long for something, but at least this time there's no Jar Jar Binks involved, just Travis Kelce. They started camping out since June. The fans around the arena in Buenos Aires have been hanging out there, and what's been happening is the people living around it have been walking around yelling at them to go get jobs. Oh. And they've been keeping track of who goes into the bathroom, and like we were talking about at Disney before, you can get out of line to go use the facilities and come back, but I couldn't imagine waiting 5 months for anything like that.
Well, but if you're a fan of Taylor Swift and this is a show you want to see, I suppose you'll wait the 5 months.
You got to be front row, I guess. You got to be front row with Flash right after this.
This is Daily Flash with your hosts, Andrea Jackson and Mitch English. Trending news and entertainment. This is Daily Flash.
Hi, everyone. I'm Andrea Jackson.
And I'm Matt Doolittle in for Mitch English, who is out currently finding himself in the woods of Oregon somewhere. So he'll come back with, I'm sure, many adventures of Sam Squatches and beavers.
I'm sure he'll see the Yeti, too, while he's out there.
He will.
There's a good chance.
So I grew up in the era of when The Simpsons was coming around, and it was the early 90s, and some of the humor back then was acceptable, right? Well, now, in the 35th season, Homer Simpson has declared he is no longer going to choke his son, Bart.
Is it no longer politically correct?
It is no longer politically correct. In the third episode of their new season, he says, "See, Marge, strangling the boy paid off, but times have changed." Okay. It only took the 35th season for him to not beat up his child on the show.
My goodness.
I mean, that show has been through so many changes. I mean, Hank Azaria stopped wanting to do the Apu voice. And you look at some of, but that's what the show, when it first started on Fox, was kind of that raunchy. It was at the time of Married with Children and those era shows, and I guess the times they are changing.
I remember seeing The Simpsons as a cartoon preview leading up to movie, as a movie trailer almost, leading up to a big movie, and it was interesting to see it change from, being part of the movie experience to now being on the television for the record number of 35 seasons.
The longest running sitcom of all time. I mean, it's counted as a sitcom. And it's still going. I can't remember the last time I saw an episode, but it's still out there.
I guess the one animated show that's still kind of holding out strong and doesn't mind insulting people is South Park.
South Park, and they do a whole 6 episodes a year now.
Yeah.
Matt Stone and Trey Parker just need that money to keep Casa Bonita going. That thing's expensive. All right, well, shocking footage captures the moment a bus driver appears to slap and choke a Louisiana middle school student while the other kids scream for him to stop. Investigators say it all started when the 77-year-old driver tried to get a student to sit down in his seat. The student refused, and then the driver reacts by pushing him back down before slapping him. The child then responds by shoving the bus driver. Then the driver appears to pin the student up against the bus window while grabbing a hold of his neck. The school district just outside of New Orleans released a statement in part saying, "The safety and well-being of our students is a top priority." The bus company says their drivers are trained to handle highly tense situations like these. The driver is out on bond and plans to defend his actions in court. He has since resigned. It's unclear what started it all. And that's kind of where it's got to go. What started that? What kicked that off? What was he yelling? Did he say some words that were maybe not so good?
Yeah, and I was trying to read the sign that was above his seat there. It said something like, all students must stand back
behind the line. I mean, that's known when you
yeah.
ride a bus as an adult. You stay behind the line.
But kids these days, they don't pay attention to rules or adults. They're like on their own train of thought. They do whatever they want, whenever they want.
They want that viral moment, and that's what they got there. This kid's like, hey, watch this. I'm going to hit the bus driver with a sandwich.
You never know.
Yeah.
That's why I think when you look at these clips in sort of a short, brief moment, you're getting just a small capsule of what happened. You're not getting the whole context, and what led up to it is what everybody needs to know.
We'll have to see what happens there.
Yeah. Well, a woman who claims her boyfriend is the hottest man alive sparked a viral frenzy when she questioned what her partner sees in her. 25-year-old Nadia Okamoto frequently shares footage of her boyfriend Henry, and noting that she didn't know why he was interested in her because of how attractive he was. She captioned the viral video, "Missing Henry since I've been away for the last week." Nadia showed various clips of her boyfriend Henry while gushing about his good looks. She said, quote, "I'm convinced I'm dating the hottest man alive and no one can convince me otherwise." In the snaps of Henry, he was seen getting ready for work and eating as well. Nadia, who attended Harvard and has been with her boyfriend for 4 years, sparked a frenzy of responses from viewers, both good and bad, I would imagine. People flooded the comments section to share their views on both her and her boyfriend. One person said, "Yes, girl, yes, you are." I'm guessing that's meaning that she's worthy of dating Henry.
Sure, good for Henry, that poor man who has to deal with all that. Just the guy looks like he's trying to get his life together. He's got looks like he's well put together. Now he's got to deal with his annoying girlfriend posting him all over line. And I wouldn't put up with that. I'd be like, look, it's been 4 years. There's a reason you don't have a ring on your hand. I'm out.
Don't you wonder, the motivation? I mean, is she just doing it to get more likes?
It might have been something cute to start. But maybe she doesn't seem like she wants to be viral. But
I'm guessing that relationship might be over soon.
It's done. Well, what's not done is Daily Flash. We'll be right back after this.
Welcome back to Daily Flash. How often are parents at their wits' end when it comes to their kids' behavior? Well, the funny thing is, most kids are simply mirroring the behavior of their parents. And our next guest knows this very well. Please welcome happiness expert and author of the international best-selling book, Get in a Good Mood, and Stay There. Danny DeNovo, welcome to Daily Flash.
Oh, it's so good to be with you.
So let's talk about this. What is mirror child anxiety?
This is a thing that I picked up. My daughter actually woke me up to this idea. I was making dinner one day and I was stirring a pot on the stove. She was a baby, maybe about a year old, and she was playing with bowls and spoons, and she looked up at me and started mimicking my behavior. And at that moment, I realized it didn't matter what I said, it mattered what I did. And so I set out to find all these answers to happiness for myself and my child so I could show her how to be happy. So when it comes to anxiety and when it comes to a lot of our behaviors, we really just have to be aware of what we're doing because our children are mirroring our exact behavior back to us.
It's amazing how quickly they pick up on things. Obviously, this idea inspired from your own experience, kind of a light bulb moment. You say if you change yourself, your child will change as well.
Takes a lot of awareness, especially this time of year. One thing that you want to be aware of is what I call your climate. And this is generally your overall mood or the environment of your home. How do you greet each day? Do you wake up in a good mood? Do you spread positivity? Or is everybody sort of walking around irritable and anxious already? Is there a sense of gratitude? Because if your child is, walking around sort of gloomy or maybe just not even talking at all, you really have to look at the way that you're behaving and how you're greeting them each day, or maybe at the end of each day.
Yeah, I think the question is a kid anxious because their parent is anxious, or is there something innate in that child that makes them anxious?
Well, if you show me an anxious kid, I will probably show you an anxious parent.
Right.
Right? They pick up on that energy more quickly than you realize. And anxiety is not a disease of the present moment, right? We get caught up in things that are going on in the past, or we're worried about the future, and we sort of dwell there. But we don't live there, and neither does our happiness. And we just let that fester and sort of snowball effect on ourselves. Our children pick up on it very quickly. And what's even worse is when you lie about it, because then your children know you're not telling the truth. You might smile and say everything's okay, but deep down they can feel that. So it's really a good time to be honest, maybe not tell them all the details of adult life, but let them know that you struggle too.
What are some other behaviors kids might mirror from their parents that parents might not even realize that's happening?
Another thing I say is obliviousness. My parents will come to me and they'll say, you know what, my child doesn't pay attention to me at all. And while the parent is telling me the story, they're on their phone going like this, right? Or maybe this happens to you. You get in the car and you go to drive somewhere and there's music playing and you're trying to respond to a quick text message. If you're like me, you're putting on mascara while you're at the stop signs. And your child is trying to talk to you. And then all of a sudden you're at your destination. You have no idea how you got there. You couldn't tell me what music was playing. That person doesn't have any idea what you were trying to say in your text message. I have mascara all over my face. And my child was talking and I didn't really hear them and they felt dismissed, right? And so when they do the same thing back to you, you can't become angry. You have to really start learning how to bring yourself back to the present moment and ground yourself there so that you can show your children how to do it too, because it's a recipe for a very happy family and a recipe for a very happy life.
Danny, I'm curious to know what other parents have said with regard to your book and this theory.
They think it's hard, right? We sign up for a lot of things when we become parents, but being a happiness role model probably is not something you realize when you took on the job. And so it really is a daily exercise, sometimes minute by minute, of learning how to bring yourself back to that present moment and teaching your child how to do it with you. There's some really basic things that you can do. Even just breathing in the car together will help you get there.
Good advice, great information. For more information on this topic, be sure to pick up Danny's book, Get in a Good Mood and Stay There. And be sure to visit DannyDeNovo.com. Some terrific advice for parents there. We'll have this interview on our website, dailyflashshow.com.
Welcome back to Daily Flash. I'm Matt Doolittle, and in this version of KSA Cares, Veterans Day is this weekend, and it's an important day to honor those who have served this country. One branch of the armed forces, the Marines, celebrated its 248th birthday this week, and we're fortunate enough to have a real-life former Marine in the studio. Joining us is Drina Black, who served in the Marine Corps and now runs operations for a big database company. Hi, Drina.
Hi, Matt.
How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thanks.
So tell us a bit about your time as a Marine, what you did, why you got into it, all that.
Well, it's a legacy. My grandfather's a Marine in the Korean War, so when I wanted to join the armed forces, he was the one that helped me to enlist, took me down to the VFW with all of his buddies, like I said before, and it was over from there. I went in open contract. I didn't care what my job was. I just wanted to be a Marine. So they put me in heavy equipment. So I got to drive bulldozers, forklifts, cranes, and excavators.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Look at that. Look at that baby face right there.
Yeah, there's my MOS, yeah.
Now, how was all the training? I mean, obviously there's the famous boot camp. Was that is it as bad as they say?
Yes. It's because my grandmother told me that they're going to break you down to the bare minimum and build you back up to the ultimate fighting machine for America. So.
And as a woman going in there, now, fortunate enough, you took me with you to the Marine Corps ball this weekend.
Yes.
And not a lot of women in uniform. So
no.
how was that being kind of that, being a woman with all these guys out there?
You were outnumbered, but you had to pull your weight just like everybody else. We're all Marines, didn't matter. We all put the uniform on. Back in the day, I was what they called in the rear with the gear. Women were not allowed in combat, but about 10 years ago, they opened everything up. And now women can do everything that men can do. So it's only about 4 to 6% women, though.
Right.
So that would mean in my unit there were 110 people, and I was the only female.
So you go through all this, you spend your time in the Marines, now you got to go back to normal life and not running around in the mud and everything. So how did you transition?
Well, you only kind of sort of transition. Once a Marine, always a Marine. You don't really ever, you earn that title and you keep it for life. So it just stays with you and your work ethic and your leadership and your dedication to everything that you do. You always put everything into it.
And I mentioned it a minute ago, but there was a big celebration this last week.
Yes.
You had a big part in putting all that together. Tell us about the Marine weekend.
The Marine weekend. So we have a golf tournament, a casino night, and then we had the Marine Corps ball where we get to come together. We have a cake cutting ceremony with the oldest Marine, the youngest Marine, full of traditions where we're passing on to the next generation. We get to hear the Commandant of the Marine Corps' message that's just keeping us motivated and on track and saying thank you and celebrating another year of a bunch of people that were born in a bar.
And guys, I got to tell you, being in a room full of about 400 Marines.
800.
800 Marines. Number one, you're in the safest place in the entire world.
Yeah.
Number two, you will never feel like the most useless person, especially as a man, in that room going, I got nothing for this entire place. So, tell us what you're doing now that you've had this big career, you've built everything up. So what are you doing now?
Well, I work with Infinity Data. I do operations. And so that's where it kind of spilled over with the Marine Weekend is I was a big part of the planning of it as far as like helping get the venue and doing all the ticketing. And so I manage in between. We do a lot of storage for big data.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Drina. Thank you for your service and
course.
all that you
Thank you
keep
for your
doing for
support.
the Marines. And everybody, Miss Drina Black.
Thank you.
Andrea, what do you got for us?
All right, Matt, great interview. Thank you so much, and thank you for all you do for our country. Well, this holiday season is here, and it is time to start planning, prepping, and shopping. The toy industry expert Elizabeth Werner joins us with some of the hottest trends this year. Hi, Elizabeth.
Let's jump right in with Furby, a classic toy brought to us by Hasbro. Furby has evolved, but remains a best friend, encouraging our little ones to actually be their authentic selves. Now, we know that cute little faux hawk up there, and the eyes are opening and closing. This has 5 voice-activated modes, over 600 reactions, including light sounds, and 10 unique songs. Now, Santa's kindness ornament and journal, a great new tradition. The world needs more kindness. This is going to allow our little ones to hear directly from Santa. They'll scan the ornament with a phone or tablet, and Santa will magically appear in video messages throughout the month of December. Santa's video messages will encourage acts of kindness and for our little ones to capture all those special moments in their journal. Now, when it comes to play and learning, VTech GoGo Smart Wheels Fast and Friendly Garage. This is a great interactive garage play set. It has a spiral track, a talking race car that's activated when it hits some smart points. Check out the car wash, the convenience store, and the gas station. This is going to help our little ones with their first words. When it comes to math, the Number Block Step Squad Mission Headquarters Hand to Mine. This is amazing. It's going to bring that smash hit from Netflix right into our family room, helping our little ones learn math in a fun way. Counting, recounting, sequencing, all those early math skills. Now, when it comes to building, we love our Lego. This is Gabby's Dollhouse. They're going to build this from the ground up. It features iconic moments, characters, and scenes from the hit show on Netflix. They're going to not only love building, but then playing and role-playing in all of the fabulous rooms that are included in here. And it even comes with Gabby, Pandy Paws, Cakey, and Mercat. Now, for more information on all of these great items, head to our website, which is wernerinfo.com.
Up next, there's a new way for businesses to save money while maintaining productivity. Here's more.
Businesses always need to optimize costs, but the current environment is showing how important optimizing efficiency really is.
Businesses across the physical economy can achieve this by centralizing things like spend and fleet management into a single place. Motive Card is the only offering that integrates fleet-related spend with the ability to manage drivers, vehicles, and equipment on a single platform.
Visit gomotive.com/motive-card to learn more.
There is still so much more trending news and entertainment heading your way, but first, let's check in with our friends at the Daily Buzz, right here on Daily Flash.
If you binge Netflix, take Ubers, get food from DoorDash, or stay in Airbnbs, then you have Amazon Web Services to thank.
AWS is celebrating our 10-year anniversary for our flagship startup program, AWS Activate. So since we first launched, we've helped some of the greatest startups today start their cloud journey and accelerate their growth. More than 280,000 startups worldwide have used AWS Activate, and we've provided more than $6 billion in AWS credits to help these startups get off the ground.
That initial boost is critical as 20% of all businesses fail within their first year.
Startups today are facing a tight capital market, which means getting support to build the fundamentals right, credits to test drive the latest technologies, and extend their runway is more important than ever. AWS Activate, we offer them all kinds of different support at the right time, at the right place, that it's entirely for free.
That support includes everything from training and networking to exclusive offers from vendors and financial assistance. Learn more at startups.aws.
Follow the Daily Buzz on social media.
Stay with us. Coming up, we're taking a sneak peek at The Fall Guy starring Ryan Gosling. And don't forget, anything you see on the show here, you can check out our website, dailyflashshow.com. We've got everything there. You can also connect with us on social media as well. Find out how to connect with us. We're back right after this. Welcome back to Daily Flash. A former stuntman springs back into action when the star of a new movie suddenly disappears. This is today's must-watch movie, The Fall Guy, starring Ryan Gosling.
You've been a ghost. No phone call, no text.
It's not like I didn't want to apologize.
You don't have to explain anything. It was just a flame. So how have you been? God, I hate that thumbs up stunt guy stuff. I'm the director.
We're gonna set this man on fire.
You're a stunt guy. We need to keep it super profesh.
Profesh is my middle name.
You said your middle name was Danger.
How do we do, boss? Really?
Yeah.
Holster that.
Yeah, it's holstered. It's done. Forget. You never saw it.
Tom Ryder, the biggest action star on the planet, is missing. You need to bring him back on. Jodie's movie is dead.
Why me?
You're a stuntman. Nobody's gonna notice you. That's your job. No offense.
I mean, some taken.
You find Ryder, save Jodie's film. You get the love of your life back.
I'm not the hero, I'm just the double. Not today, you're not. Tom, we only need you back on set, pal.
Dead body on ice.
He was so dead, Gail. He was super dead.
He's got himself involved with some shady people.
I had no choice. I had to do something. Jason Bourne. They were trying to kill me. And not in a fun way. You can make it, you can make it. You can't make it. It's too dangerous. Gotta be stairs. Okay.
What happened to your face? You look terrible.
You look amazing.
Oh, this is one of those I want to see right now, and it doesn't come out until March.
That looks really good. And I'm wondering if all the Barbie fans are now going to go start seeing his other stuff.
Crazy Stupid Love is one of my favorites.
It's
and
a good
he's so good in that.
It's a good one. Well, thanks you all for spending time with us.
Yeah, for more
Daily Flash.
information on any of the stories, visit our website, dailyflashshow.com. Be good, everybody.
Peace and love.